Today's adventure sees us going into the Tokyo Architectural Outdoor Museum. There's a number of either faithfully recreated or relocated homes showing 3 or 4 different eras in Tokyo's Edo history. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Lots of detail to see. Hope you enjoy it along with us. This is a detailed map with the various buildings and where they're either from or recreated to be. So yeah, it's marked off into 3 separate zones. We have a little to scale model of the village itself. We're in that big orange building at the front. It's the visitor centre, and this will be the place that we're going to be exploring. This is a mausoleum built in 1632 to honour the concubine of one of the shoguns. Beautiful detail. Don't know if her remains are still there, it may just be a replica. But beautifully recreated. This is a farmhouse that's been brought to this site, built in 1603, belonging to the Tenmyo family. They were a high status family, which is noted by the architectural style and the various details. Probably just the fact that it's a multi-roomed house would give you that indication. But yeah, it's got a thatched roof, which is kind of cool. You can see the thickness of the thatch in there. There is a sign about earthquakes, which we haven't felt any of at this point. Little cooking station in the corner. Not quite sure where the smoke went, but it looks pretty obviously like a cooking station. And then through into these other beautiful rooms with the tatami mats, the beautiful ventilation, and the various rooms. Beautiful graining on the floor. Secondary veranda again with the long eaves for rain and sun protection. And then around in here, the little bathroom. Place to put your feet, place to put your wee. Beautiful timber flooring too. Quite a large house. They obviously were a very wealthy family to have this. It's like walking through an actual village. It's been set out with landscaping, and the buildings are set at good distances. Obviously we're outside, so yeah, it feels really cool. This building is a bar that was on Kototoi Street in Taito Ward in Tokyo. It was built in 1856, they think, and it survived earthquakes in the Second World War. Little glimpse of the insides of a traditional Japanese bar. We've had a meal at a table like that. Just the counter area. It's a public bathhouse from approximately 1929. Quite heavily detailed and probably from a fairly nice part of town. We haven't been to a Japanese onsen or public bath because everyone we've seen have been traditional and you have to go in naked, which really didn't appeal. So this is just to give us an idea of what it might have been like. This is a little tailor's workshop, a recreation from a previous merchant's building. It did have a 6-room storeroom behind, but that hasn't been recreated here, just this front part. We can have a little glimpse inside. And you can see just the fabrics and some of the items that could have possibly been made by a tailor such as this. Little sake shop. Come in here, through into the sake area. Can't access there. And then through into the actual little shop, kitted out with all period specific things. Crates and crates and crates. This was an inn that was operating up until the early 90s, much as it is now. So that's quite fascinating. Imagine being able to stay in a beautiful building like this. A little tea room. The hallways with the step up into the no footwear area. Little kitchen zone with an amazing deep concrete sink. Can't really quite see it. But yeah. Just a little glimpse of the street in this zone. Here we have a wholesale umbrella store. Stationery store for calligraphy supplies. Right next door to the beautiful florist with lovely bay window, and then into the shop itself with your shelving and through into the back store area. All the old flower pots. The inside of the calligraphy store. A little row of houses, starting with a kitchenware store, selling all sorts of things, as you would expect, brooms and crockery, cookware, steamers, and then through into probably the home of the merchant. You can catch a little glimpse of these as we go down the alley. Just the little houses. We have a cigarette store over here and groceries. It's a few rooms with their wares out the front, given that a lot of that is fish and etc. I won't be eating any from this one. The gorgeous old register. And then again through to storage and living quarters. This house was built in 1927 and it's got this green hue because the outside of it is lined in copper plating, which of course gets that verdigris colour when it ages or as it ages. And then inside you can just see some of the detail on the screens and in the little built-in shelves in the back and the beautiful doorway over there. You can see all these pockmarks on the building. It's actually from shrapnel from bombs dropped during World War II. This building was a cosmetics manufacturer and they used to manufacture them in the building itself using papers from the United States, which is potentially why it was built in a bit of a Western style, just to give a little bit of gravitas to the quality of their product. And of course now Japan is well known for its cosmetics. Little measuring vials just to get the formulas right. Police box where a police officer would be stationed on duty. This was the gateway into a family residence. Must have been pretty fancy. This is the second house of the Nishikawa family. The Nishikawa family were entrepreneurs in the silk industry and so obviously very, very wealthy. Follows a similar theme to the villa we saw in Nikko. I guess the similarity is the secondary veranda area and the deep overhang. Beautiful open rooms for ventilation. We have a bathroom area down here. A deep bath. Beautiful painting on the screens. The inside of the house is quite dark, but the detail again is exquisite. Under the eaves. And then out these windows with the beautiful cross breezes. This is the only walkable veranda in the house, and it overlooks a little stream. It's said that Takahashi liked sunbathing and strolling around in his garden. This is the main bedroom in the George Delaland house. It's Really lovely. It started life as a single-storey house, and he extended it to be a 3-storey house. Don't ask me how they do that. Not only that, they also relocated it to this site. It's lovely big rooms, beautiful wide timber floor. It's great. Lots of doors into every room, mind you, which is a bit weird. And then a little sneaky peek up the stairs, which you can't really see much of. And a sneaky peek down the stairs. There's a little doorway down there. It's only a 3/4 door. Don't know where it goes. Maybe it's the children's room. But yeah, nice little house. Big house. This is the outside of the George de Lalande house. It's a Western style house with some lovely European detail. It's been converted into a cafe for this open air museum. We just enjoyed a lovely morning tea, very elegant drawing room. This is the farmhouse of the Tsunoshima family. It was built on a plateau overlooking the Tama River, but it was moved here for this village, and it was built so 1680 to 1745. Substantial thatched roof and a very enclosed area underneath. As you can see, beautiful detail up in those rafters. Again, the indoor cooking area, and that's under the same roof line, but it's down on the dirt floor, which is how it would have been when they lived in it, with the doors outside allowing the ventilation. And there are these tatami mat floor areas for living and sleeping in. For a house of this age, it's beautiful. You can see the major cooking areas over here, so I'm not quite sure what that internal fire on the wooden floor is for. Maybe it's just a very small fire that keeps a kettle boiling. The water well for the family outside, with direct access into the sink area. Beautiful old wooden sink. Side view of the farmhouse. Quite a substantial building and rather lovely. This is another farmhouse, again quite substantial. Some of it's been replaced, but a lot of the interior is the original. Beautiful detail again, and this has also been rebuilt on this site. It was originally in a hawk hunting area, sort of around the Tokyo district somewhere, and from a 1700s-ish. But again, with the beautiful hefty thatched roof, and then the rooms off that external veranda, as you've seen in a variety of buildings that we've taken footage of. These outer areas are fascinating with the hard floor, which is how it would have been, and then there's a indoor fire pit, and then you step up over here into the wooden floored areas where they would have removed their shoes. This one's slightly different to the other one in that it's got the oven just here and the little cooking pit or whatever that was, and then you've got the kitchen sink round over here. beautiful symmetry, partly for the design, partly for the airflow. Bedroom zone with a mosquito net that would have been hung in the four corners of the rooms and then taken down during the day. This staggered shelving is a forerunner to what appears in most Japanese homes, just little shelving within that recess, maybe for the home shrine, I'm not quite sure. And the mosquito nets originally were made of hemp fabric. The little family fire gathering area with the little seating off the floor. This may have just had embers in it to keep warm rather than cooking. We've got a cooking station there and then one in the back corner over there. This house belonged to the leader of a samurai brigade with up to 1,000 samurai in it. The samurai were unique in that they were farmers as well as samurai. But yeah, it's a lovely house again with the thatched roof and the detailing and the hard floor and the wooden floor, raised wooden platforms. So the hard floor area is where the farmers would keep their animals, tools, cook, etc. As you can see in this one. You've got the kitchen sink and you've got the hearth here, wood store there, and then through into the house. This house doesn't have the sand-lined pit that the other ones did, but I've discovered that sand-lined pit was very important as part of the protection for the house. Because it has no chimney, the soot coats the timbers, keeps the wooden thatching, etc. dry, but also protects against vermin and other things. So yeah, another unique thing about the Japanese architecture. This is a recreation of a house built for the eldest son, 11 generations of the Mitsui family, who were very wealthy, possibly the Mitsui Bank family. Part of it was built in 1874 and another part was built in 1954, I think. But yes, this is much finer work than the thatched cottages, but obviously for a different class of family. Beautiful statuary outside and some really interesting architectural features inside apparently. Even that little detail on the front door. Details like the hand-painted screens and then the beautiful artwork are reminiscent of the villa in Nikko. This was a home for a wealthy family. Quite a substantial kitchen area with a butler's pantry, no less. Walk-in food pantry with a screen door and an enormous stove and sink. Beautiful panelling in this room. Reminds me of the Tudor panelling in England. And then you've got this lovely staircase. Quite low banisters, but up into this space up here. Beautiful trunks with wonderful detail. And up a third level into the attic space. These painted screens have been protected. You can see the hefty beams. Beautiful workmanship. Beautiful detail on the screens again. And in this dining area, again with all the artwork around the room. And up onto the ceiling, the panels. This building is part of a photographic studio. So potentially rooms were used for photography, and the family then lived in it as well. Bathroom and kitchen facilities. We've noticed the Japanese love big sinks, possibly because they have big pots. Forerunners to the old lighting ring. Studio backdrops. Whip up the old costume change. It's the outside of the Tokyo Wadai photo studio. This is the house of Koidai. This house was built in 1925, and it was built at an angle to the boundaries deliberately so that certain things faced various ways. And it was built by the one family, and it's been in the same family for all of the years till 1996, when it became part of the property of this museum. Small kitchen area, gas stove over there, beautiful sinks again, bench space, a deep Japanese sitting bath, a large sink for their bathroom, beautiful little sitting room, the piano, unlined loft space, upstairs bedroom area with built-in robes. This wooden house is the house of Kunio Mayakawa, but we enter in through the back, so I thought I'd just give you a bit of a hint of what it looks like. And this is the house of S. Okawa. This house was dismantled and then reassembled in this space, and when it was reassembled it was returned or restored to what it would have originally looked like. Very simple, built in the early 50s, but very elegant. Quite a modern little powder room, floor to ceiling tile, deep window ledges with the screens, large radiator underneath. Very simple but very elegant. Pieces of furniture chosen particularly for the era. Great dining table with a splayed shape. Through to the little kitchen. Oh, with all the furnace, etc. Through into another fully tiled bathroom. Lovely bedroom. Nice big built-in robes. As I said, very simple, very practical, but with beautiful little details. We can't go upstairs, but it's basically just a small bedroom space, loft space, workspace. As I said, a very simple house, but beautiful. We're in the Okawa house. Beautiful parquetry flooring on this one. Again, very lovely. Delicate detail around the windows. Just a lovely home. Window seating. Piano. Through into the dining room. And then another living space. The lights are gorgeous. This spills out onto a veranda. You have the gorgeous servery through to the kitchen. You can see it's a timber sink. A little utilities room or sunroom, breakfast nook. And then a very simple but practical kitchen. Copper lined timber sink. Little fridge in the corner. And beautiful timber floors. Deep bath. Another copper lined sink and beautiful timber floors in this bathroom. Lovely big window. And that completes our visit to the Edo Tokyo Open Air Architectural Museum. It's been a real treat. We're in the suburb of Ginza tonight, which is a slightly different vibe to some of the other suburbs we've been in. A bit more subdued, a little bit more ritzy, a bit more expensive. Just enjoyed an underground bar. And we were the first Australian visitors, so that was exciting, and they were excited. So, yeah, we'll see a little bit of Ginza tonight. And some probably rather nice cars. Super expensive beauty gadgets, anybody? This is how they do shopping in Ginza. They close off the street and they let you wander past Shiseido and Watchnian and Dior and Mont Blanc and Yamaha, Balenciaga, all sorts of interesting things. This is how you should do shopping. I thought this was a florist because it's got the most beautiful floral displays in the window. But it's actually a women's wear shop. Ferragamo, Abercrombie and Fitch, Chloe, all sorts of interesting brands. All sorts of wealthy people wandering along here. Japanese beer hall is very busy. Oh, got a queue going around the corner and halfway down the block. Must be good. Beautiful tree-lined street. Flagship Uniqlo store all the way to the top of that glass-fronted building. Pretty big. A couple of interesting buildings down on the Ginza Strip, which they've now reopened to the traffic. Little Ginza police box, obviously just a base. of the Keat building, 6 floors up. So not a great height, but high enough to get a good view through parts of Ginza and down onto Tokyo Station. Give you a bit of a glimpse of some of the skyline and the old Marunouchi building, which is the old railway station. Comes a Shinkansen, back from an adventure somewhere. They're very long. They're like our freight trains in Australia. They just go on and on and on. You can see the beautiful reflections in that building at the buildings opposite. That's just a suburban train coming in. They're also quite long. You can see the flashing red lights on that building, pretty well centered. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 cranes up there, probably 7 or 8. I think there's a building on the back side having some work done on it, but it makes quite a cool sight in the night light. So the Tokyo Rail Hub spans from this building here, which is most of the general suburban lines, right the way across to that building over there in the foreground that says Tokyo Midtown Yasu, and that's where the Shinkansens are. So if you happen to go in on that side and you need to be on a suburban train, you've got to traverse all of the underground to get to this side, and that can take up to 20 minutes. There's a bit more of the Marunouchi building down there. So we'll walk around and see if we can see some more of the front. It's got that great domed tower on either end. Looks like some offices over here. And at this end table, this gentleman was slowly nodding off just now, and he jerked awake and then went back to work. There's something rather magical about a city skyline at night. See, poor guy, he's just too busy. He needs to go home. It is Saturday afternoon after all.